in here today. We're going to introduce a couple of people, but before I do that real quickly, we just held a ribbon cutting yesterday for KG Tattoos on the north side of the downtown square in Greensburg, Indiana. Want to give them a shout out and tell them congratulations. We also last week cut a ribbon for Nicole Derby, MBA, with Edward Jones. She is located on the south side of the downtown square in Greensburg, so a lot happening in downtown Greensburg right now. Next week, we will do a ribbon cutting for Jacob Brinson, the Brinson Agency with Country Financial. I just totally lost his name in the middle of all of that. Country Financial, the Brinson Agency, Jacob Brinson. That ribbon cutting is happening May 28th at 11 o'clock a.m. His office is located in the Studebaker Studio, which is on Lincoln Street. So if you have that time frame open, want to join us, welcome Jacob to the area. That would be fabulous. We would love to have you. Again, that's Wednesday, May the 28th at 11 a.m. Tomorrow, we will have an ambassador luncheon for the chamber. Since I have been in office, we have not really had a true ambassador program. And so we're going to kick that off again with a luncheon tomorrow from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can still get registered. We still do have room if you are interested in that. Again, that's Thursday, May 22nd, 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lunch will be complimentary. Just call our office at 812-663-2832. And upcoming, we've got some big events. We've got the Women in Business event happening on June the 12th, Thursday, June the 12th. We are almost sold out for that event. I do know that our vendor spaces are completely sold out, and we probably have about 20, possibly 25 more seats left. So we're real close to having a full house for that Women in Business conference. Again, that is the Women in Business conference on Thursday, June the 12th. And I'd at this time like to introduce our new summer intern. We have Belle Westerfeld with us. Welcome, Belle.
Thank you. Hi.
You are live on air in front of all of southeastern Indiana. Have you ever been on the radio before?
I have been on the radio for Coach's Corner when I was in high school for volleyball.
Okay, so a similar situation.
Yeah.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Belle. Where did you come from?
Yeah, so I graduated from Batesville High School in 2023, but I've lived in Decatur County for my whole life.
That's awesome. And you are doing what currently as far as education goes?
Yes, so I am a rising senior at Purdue University, and I'm studying user experience design, and I also have a couple of minors in communications and psychology.
Okay, and we hired you as our summer intern. This is where the quiz comes in. I told her that there would be a small quiz on air. We hired you to do a couple of different projects for us. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my main project is going to be the golf outing, and that's going to be Friday, August 1st. So currently I am working on some marketing materials for that. But I'm also just helping around with all of our events like the Lunch and Learns, Leaders and Loggers, and all of the ribbon cuttings.
You've had, a week and a half under your belt? You've seen a board of directors meeting. You have been to a county commissioner meeting. You've been to a county council meeting. You're now on the radio. Yeah. You've had a Lunch and Learn under your belt. You've done, I think, an HR Power. You've done it all almost.
I think there's been something every single day.
There has.
To keep me on my toes,
well,
for sure.
You are not bored.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So again, give us that date for the golf outing.
Friday, August 1st.
Awesome. So go ahead and mark your calendars for that. And we have a couple of guests in the studio with us. We're going to introduce now Decatur County RMC Technology Manager Sam Ruff is with us, and the Communication and Member Service Manager Crystal Greathouse. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're here to talk about PowerStream Fiber. Can you just give me a broad what is fiber? I think there's a lot of confusion about just technology in general, and if you are not an IT person like myself, it gets very, very complicated in my head. So can you just tell us what fiber is exactly?
So fiber is the mode of communication or method that will actually get internet to services or businesses. It's basically a glass tube that light shines through and allows communication for the internet services. As of right now, it's the best technology and allows for the fastest internet.
Okay, fastest internet. We all need that. I know you mentioned the word broadband. That's a key word in everything that we talk about today, I feel like. Decatur County RMC just launched PowerStream Fiber. Crystal, can you talk a little bit about what that means for Decatur County REMC.
Well, Decatur County REMC has been looking at a broadband opportunity for several years. We went through a couple of feasibility studies over the last probably 5-6 years. And then we finally were able to take the opportunity with some grants that opened up to make it something that we could do. So we're really excited about it. That is why Decatur County REMC, when they initially came about to serve electricity to our rural members, it was because the IOUs would not come and bring them electricity. So that's what the cooperatives were developed for. We're doing basically the same thing for internet. We're bringing it to the people that probably are never going to get it if someone like us doesn't do it.
Interesting. So I was going to ask why Decatur County REMC even stepped foot into this realm, but I think you just kind of clarified that for us. Why would someone choose PowerStream Fiber over another internet provider? What is the benefit?
Actually, it's because I think we're built different. What we have done in our feasibility and when we made our decisions through the board at Decatur County, we looked at what is this going to do for our community and what this is going to do for all of the counties that we serve, because we don't just serve Decatur County. We serve all of our surrounding communities as well. And so what we wanted to focus on was keeping our money local. They're going to have the opportunity to come into our office here in Greensburg, and they can talk to an actual real life person. When they call in on the phone, they're talking to a real life human.
Very nice.
Not someone that's in another state or anything else. So we think that having that option for our community and for our members is over and above what they're going to get from other people.
So you mentioned that Decatur County REMC doesn't just serve Decatur County. Will PowerStream Fiber be offered throughout the entire service area, or how does that work?
So it will really depend on funding. Right now we're in the midst of what we're calling our first phase, and we're hoping there's multiple phases to this as funding becomes available. We were awarded and granted funding from Next Level Connections Grant through the state of Indiana. They refer to it as NLC4. And we're actually planning to start construction in the southeast part of our service territory next month. So that's really exciting for us. There's been a lot of work to bring that to us to this point in time. And this service territory is a small portion of our territory. We'll actually be starting in the southeast section, more in Ripley County, and then moving to the northwest, almost up to Greensburg. But over 1,400 members will end up having this service with our first phase.
Okay, and then you mentioned possible or potential future phases. Is that all dependent on funding, or can you talk to that at all?
So it's heavily dependent on funding. It requires a lot of capital in order to produce or give fiber out to the community. So the funding is really important to that. Our board is dedicated to try to reach everybody, but they want to do it financially and be sustainable from the start. So the funding is part of that. And you touch base that, is it all in our territory or outside of our territory? Funding also kind of drives that decision too. Sometimes in order to get funded, you have to step outside of what our electrical territory is, because there is no territories in the broadband business. So we may touch areas that are outside of our territory also with that.
So is my house going to be in that territory, or how do I find that out?
So we actually released new map, an interactive map on our website. You can reach it through dcremc.com, or you can even go to powerstreamfiber.com and it will redirect you to the website for that. You'll actually be able to type in your address. It will bring up a map, put a little pin of whatever your address is there, and then it's color coded based on if that's the territory that we're currently building in, if that's the territory that we're looking for funding, and then it will allow us to capture your interests, so we can capture your name, email address, your phone number. So as we build out and maybe expand our service, hopefully go to other phases, we'll have that interest and be able to reach out to you and let you know when we're going to be able to serve your home.
So, Belle, can you type in my address on your phone? Check that out for me.
Okay, I will.
That's my next task. We actually had Decatur County REMC as a Lunch and Learn sponsor here just recently, talking about Project Indiana. And one of the things that we mentioned during that Lunch and Learn, or that that the guest speaker mentioned was that we really take for granted that we can just walk into a room and flip a switch and have electricity. And part of that mission was getting electricity to those who are underserved. Explain the process of what getting fiber to someone actually is. Like, technically speaking, Sam, what actually has to happen?
So there's quite a few steps that are involved with that, and we're in the midst of starting construction, and construction is just another phase of those approaches. There's a lot of engineering work that has to be done in order to know where we're going to put all those fiber lines and everything. So we're almost through all of those phases, but now the phases are what people actually see. So
Right,
they're going to get
right.
excited. There's going to be construction workers in the area and stuff. So they'll actually hang our main line, which is the most fiber counts, and then we do distribution from those fiber counts. So you'll see a main line, and then they'll splice into distribution. So it's kind of like electricity. You see your
It's all in the air, though. Like,
we're following the power path. So
Okay.
So if we
Okay.
have electricity in the air, then we're going to follow that and hang it on our poles.
Gotcha.
If we have it underground, then we'll follow underground too. So
Okay.
we won't be setting new poles just to put fiber up.
okay. So do you have one team that is going out, or do you have multiple teams that will be in multiple areas doing the work?
So we're working with certain contractors, and they'll have other contractors probably work with them too. But they'll be focused in certain areas. So we'll build out we're calling them DAs. They're design areas. So they're a smaller subsection of the 1,400 addresses. So we'll stay focused in those areas first. But D&H Fiber is the contractor that will be hanging the fiber, and then Lit Fiber is a contractor that will be actually doing the drop installs, and then we really haven't mentioned, but our partners in this whole venture, SEI Communications, will actually be doing
Nice.
the installs into the house. And that partnership is very important to us. Without that partnership, we probably wouldn't be able to provide the services that we're going to be providing today with their expertise and experience in the fiber business. They've been doing it for years.
Can we talk about what that looks like? I know they're not here with us. They're going to be the experts on that, but do you have any insight on what that looks like from the SEI side? You're going to hang the fiber. You're going to get it to the house. SEI then has to, quote unquote, turn it on for the customer. What does that kind of look like for us as customers? What will should we anticipate with that?
So you'll still be dealing with the REMC directly for most of the communications.
Okay.
It's just they will be the ones that actually show up your house to
Okay.
install the router, get the Wi-Fi turned on for you, and actually have your lit service within the home.
Okay, so they are actually going to have to come into the home to get that to that house.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the REMC will deliver it to the side of the house, which is called a NID. It's a network interface device, and then
So many acronyms.
yes, there's a
Everything.
lot to learn from everybody.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So then after we get that box placed on the side of the house, then we actually will schedule with SEI. REMC will work with them directly to make sure that they can get into the house and install the equipment and get the service turned up for.
Okay. And I would anticipate there's going to be questions about levels. So we talk about like getting high-speed internet. Are there different levels with fiber? Can you get like a lower level or a higher level, or what is that even called? I don't know.
Take that one.
So there's going to be different packages.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's so we're going to be offering 3 different packages. So 100 by 100 for $64.95, 500 by 500 for $79.95, and then 1 gig for $109.95. We are not going to be having any contracts. There's not any hidden fees. It's just going to be straightforward, reliable service. Is what you're going to be receiving. We will also be offering a VoIP phone service starting at $29.95, and then there will be business plans of 100 by 100 or 1 gig. So those will be things that are becoming later down the line, but for now we're really just kind of focused on fiber and the internet. But yeah, phone will be an option as well.
And all of that information can be found on your website,
Yes.
I would assume?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. And that website again is dcremc.com?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, you talked a little bit, Sam, at the beginning about that we were in phase 1, that you'd received a grant from Next Level Communications. Can you talk about what that grant included, how big that grant was, and what you're looking at for the future for phases 2 and 3?
So Next Level is a grant through the state of Indiana. This was actually their 4th round of doing grants for the state. We were awarded one of the 6 applications that we applied
Awesome.
for. The grant is capped at a $5 million max for the grant, so we had to split up our territory because we could not serve the entire territory with $5 million in grant. So we split it up into 6 applications, and we received one of those. So
Okay.
we were awarded one of those applications for Next Level. So
And
pretty
that's
exciting.
what's helping to quote unquote power phase 1. What about future phases? What are we looking for?
So future phases, there's we're always looking for opportunities for grants. We've talked about BEAD. It's a federal level grant. The state of Indiana was awarded $868 million to be able to fund getting high-speed internet to every household. That program is actually kind of on hold right now. The White House has kind of ordered that program be on hold. They're reevaluating it. We're hopeful that program will still go forward, and we've put in for our Indiana's in the middle of that, but it's on hold now, so we don't know exactly where we're at in awards for BEAD, but we are looking to apply for BEAD, and you'll notice that on our map. There'll be a different color code, and you can see that these are the areas that we applied for BEAD. We just don't know if the program will go forward, and then what addresses will get awarded for that BEAD grant.
Yeah.
And then we're also looking at another state-funded program, is ICP, and that's just connecting a few addresses here or there, and so we're looking to apply for those also in our area.
So that's been a topic of conversation amongst businesses all over, not just our state, but throughout the United States, that this funding that's being put on pause or put on hold is greatly affecting a lot. So are you seeing that in phase 1? Is that going to affect phase 1 as well, or we're clear there?
We are clear on phase 1.
Okay,
The
okay.
funding is available, and we are moving forward, and that's why we're happy to say that construction is going to start in June on that, and the funding will be there. So that is on course and planned to roll out.
Okay. And Crystal, you mentioned VoIP. What about television services? Are there other services that this will affect as well?
Yeah, so we will not be offering telephone services, but with having the fiber internet, then customers will be able to go and do Netflix and Hulu, and they'll be able to look at all of the streaming services that if they have just their cell phone connection today, or something satellite service, they may not be able to stream as well. So we could help them, figure out what plans work for them and those types of things. But yeah, we will not be having an actual TV service.
Okay. Okay. Belle, what questions do you have for Sam and Crystal?
How?
As you're sitting
You're
here
putting me on
listening,
the spot here.
I know, but this is a great example. Like, as you're sitting here listening, somebody who doesn't have any kind of background, any kind of history, know anything
Yeah.
about it, you've got this brand new program that's being rolled out. What are you confused about? What do we need to better
Yeah.
explain?
Honestly,
to you?
how would you explain this to a 20-year-old or someone that's about to, maybe buy a house or get themselves started?
Great question.
Yeah.
So real estate is a big part of this too. I mean, we've heard that places that have fiber internet access, it actually enhances the real estate. People are looking at homes, and when they go to look at a home, they want to know, do I have good internet? Can I stream services? Can I work from home? Can I, do these things? And right now, Decatur County and surrounding areas, we have a poor internet connection, and that's why we're looking at these fundings to serve those areas. So I think it's very critical, and as a young person, you're always connected. So internet is an
Yeah.
important part of your life. It becomes part of your life, and if somebody would take your cell phone away and the internet access, what would you do? So those are the things that we're trying to offer, and it's just a part of life now, and it's almost a must-have instead of a nice thing to have now. So.
Explain what differences clients or customers will see once they get that capability to be accessed by fiber.
So I think one of the big things is a lot of people have internet access today, but I wouldn't say it's good internet. So I think once they get a true symmetrical internet fiber connection that actually the download and the upload are the same, you no longer have to sit there and wait 3 hours to upload your 10 pictures so your family, from another state can see those pictures. You'll actually be able to stream multiple TVs and not just one TV. Your kids will be able to game. They won't get hung up and get
You
that
mean your kids will
spinning
be able to
circling.
do their homework?
Kids will have access to homeworks.
Yeah.
E-learning, I think, is a very critical thing in our area.
Yeah.
And teachers aren't able to, do an e-learning and actually have a visual on the kids. It's literally they assign the assignment and it's not a true virtual classroom. This would give that opportunity that they could have video back and forth and help with that in e-learning.
Interesting. What questions as customers should we be asking that maybe we haven't talked about yet on this program? Or what are some of the big concerns that you're hearing?
Not really a concern, but I think one of the other positives that we kind of wanted to touch on was the bill. You have to pay for your fiber bill. And one of the good things with going through PowerStream through Decatur County REMC is everything will be on your bill. So your electricity and your internet will both come on the same bill.
Okay.
So you won't have to worry about getting a separate bill and it being due at a different time. Everything will be streamlined and on one page. And if you're an internet only, it'll still be just the same, but everything will be due the exact same time.
So this is kind of like a future, it's not a futuristic, it's here, but we've kind of known for the last several years that this is the new thing, the up and coming. What is next? Like if we can get a good handle on fiber, what are we looking at futuristically that we need to kind of keep a pulse on?
That's a good question. Technology changes every day. If I had that glass ball, I'd probably be rich and maybe not sitting
Right,
here.
right. Fair.
So
That's fair.
I don't know if I can tell you what's next. I know the technology that we're using with fiber is the most future proof. You now have Starlink up in the sky, but that Starlink is dependent on a fiber line to get up to the sky and back down to you.
Gotcha. That's good to
Fiber
know.
is the speed of light. If you know of anything else that travels faster than the speed of light, let me know.
I did not know that. Well, that's a fun fact. Yeah. I did not know. Okay, so fiber travels at the speed of light.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other fun facts you're holding back there?
So I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I live out in the middle of nowhere and I can't get a good internet, and as this expands, how do I know? So when I go and I'm looking at different services that are offered now, I'm like, okay, well that service didn't work and that one's not good. How do I know that where I'm at is going to be good? I'm going to have good speeds and good services. Does that make sense as I'm a consumer shopping?
So I think you're asking as you look at different plans, so if you have different options, so if you have a Starlink option or a satellite option or maybe a DSL or something like that in a rural area,
Yes.
What are your options? They all will post speeds, and that's usually how you're going to have to decide based on the speeds. It's just what you actually get. So sometimes you won't know until you actually take the service, unfortunately, because they'll advertise the best they can do. And that doesn't always work out that way. So like satellite, the more people that are on the satellite, the slower your speeds are going to be. The same thing with the DSL technology, and even, cable technology. If you get a whole bunch of people in the same area, it will slow it down, where fiber doesn't do that. So anytime you're looking at it, fiber is going to be your best option at this point in time.
Okay.
But it's really hard to tell you 100% that, which way to go. But you're looking at a download speed and an upload speed. And your upload speed really depends on what you're pushing back out to the internet. So if you want to do video chats and those type of things where you're actually using video, that's really important. I know my service today, I can't do video calls from home when I try to work from home because the service isn't. I can download and I can stream all day, but I can't do work with video chat or video
Interesting.
calls because of the upload is so slow. And that's where fiber differentiates itself from all the other technologies. It's the same up
The
and
number
down.
of consumers on it does not matter.
Yes.
Can you tell us what those numbers will be for PowerStream Fiber?
So
The
we-
upload and download numbers?
So that's what Crystal touched on. We're offering 3 packages. It's 100 meg by 100 meg.
Oh,
Is
those
the-
are the
is the
upload
beginning,
download
yes,
numbers.
is your-
I got you.
And
Okay.
then the medium package is 500 by 500 megabytes, and then 1 gig by 1 gig packages is what we'll be offering.
Okay, and give us an example of, like you were saying, you can't work from home today because you don't have the upload capabilities. Out of those 3 packages you just mentioned, will any of them allow you to do that, or where do we kind of need to be falling?
I would say any of them will allow it.
Okay.
It depends on what else you have going on in your home. So if my kids are all home and they're all watching TV, then I probably want a little higher package to make sure that I will be able to maintain that. But like today, my internet provider today advertises 25 by 5. So 25 down, 5 up, and that 5 up just doesn't keep up. And if you run a speed test, I'm averaging probably 14, 15 down and 2 or 3 up. So that's where, when you ask, 25.5 didn't sound too bad, but I'm not actually fully getting that service.
And so it really needs to be a customizable thing for that family, which is why you have the 3 different packages, because it's not a one-stop shop. It's everybody needs something just slightly different depending on what that household makeup looks like.
Yeah, and we'd love everybody to take the 1 gig service, but it's not
Sure.
it's not a requirement to do what you need today by
Right.
any means. But
Right.
there is some cases where that is necessary.
Yeah, yeah. What any other thoughts, or my
I
mind
was
is
going to
spinning.
mention on that, we are working on a platform that will be on our website that will have kind of like a selection tool to where a customer could go on there and they could say, I have 4 people living in my home. We have, 4 cell phones. We have 7 TVs. We're going to have 2 people working from home. A couple of people might be doing online learning, so that you can go through there and you can choose those selections, and then it will tell you at the very end, based upon all of these entries that you are going to be potentially having running at the same time, this is the service that we would recommend.
Awesome.
So that way you're not just going in and saying, oh, give me the cheapest, and then you get that, and then you hook up 12 different things, and then you're like, gosh, this is not any better than what I already had.
Right.
Well, it's because you're wanting to pay the cheapest, but really what you need to satisfy all of those is maybe the middle or even the highest. So that is something that will be coming to the website. It'll be an integration tool that you can just kind of click through and give you some choices.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
And then I would assume, like other packages, you can change those packages over time, depending on what your needs are
Yep.
and what you're seeing
Yep.
is working or
Yep.
not.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the benefits of not having contracts. So you're not locked into that package. So if you want to start out at the lowest package and you realize, hey, I need a little bit more, let's go ahead and bump you up.
Yep.
Or maybe let's start at the largest package and maybe you'll love it and keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as equipment, you mentioned that there will be a router in the home. Anything else as far as equipment goes?
So there will be a router in a home. We are looking at possibly offering a mesh type system for some houses that are larger, or they need Wi-Fi in a different location, or they have walls that doesn't let Wi-Fi transfer very well. So the mesh system will allow Wi-Fi throughout the entire house, and that could be an add-on fee for them. Just add it onto your bill, and then we can make sure that you have full Wi-Fi coverage to your house, or to your barn or somewhere else that you may want to be
Gotcha.
able to stream TV or something like that. So
That
there
is-
is another
yeah.
add-on.
That has been one of the complaints in our household is there is definitely a difference in different parts of the house. I will be FaceTiming with our college-age girls, and they're like, "Mom, get out of the bathroom, or get out of your bedroom," or because one end of the house is definitely different than the other end. So interesting. Very cool, very cool. Well, I guess thank you for being on the cutting edge and thinking about the customers and what is needed in our areas, especially with the fact that we are such a rural community. We have a lot of outlying areas that are very well populated, but still don't get what they need. So thank you for being a part of that solution and working for the greater good of southeastern Indiana. Anything else, Sam or Crystal? Belle, anything else from you that we need to leave with today?
I think I'm good.
Belle's good.
I would just like to say we're very excited to get this kick-started and be able to turn up our first customer yet this year. Just stay posted to our website. Our Facebook page will be, blasting with all different types of updates as service becomes available in these areas, in these 1,400 addresses. We definitely want you to, look at it and get signed up for it. And even if we're not in this, like I talked about, we're in a phase 1 approach. We're hoping to expand that. So go to the website, put your interest in, let us capture it. Maybe there is a pocket of 25 people that isn't too far from this phase 1, and we can go ahead and connect them without grant funding possibly. So
Gotcha.
so there is opportunities maybe outside of the grant. So us collecting your interest, and the more people that are interested makes it more viable to get the service to you. So please check out the website. Let us know if you're interested.
And I know we said that like the actual work portion of it is going to start happening. Do you have a timeline on when customers can be hooked up?
That's a great question, and I wish I had a date that said,
Yeah.
our first customer is going to
Yeah.
be this date. I do not have that, because construction is such a, you just don't know what you're going to get with
Sure.
weather and different things. We will be trying to connect people as we build out, so it won't be we have to construct all the fiber first. So
Gotcha.
we will be trying to connect people as soon as we can.
Okay.
But the website's going to be the most accurate information for that, because as soon as we get close to being able to get to your house to connect you, it'll be posted on the website, and then
Yeah.
communication can start to get signed up.
Perfect. Well, Sam, Crystal, thank you so much for being with us. This is not in my wheelhouse, so I need the kindergarten version, or as Belle said, the teenage or young adult version for better explanation. So we appreciate you coming in and taking a deeper dive and explaining all the things related to fiber. So with that, this has been Community Connections. It is Monday, May the 21st. We'll see you next